I'm sure we all remember that scene in Alice in Wonderland where she falls down that rabbit hole. Well, I believe some preppers also fall down the rabbit hole. Now, at the bottom of that prepper rabbit hole is not a caterpillar smoking a hookah. But I'm telling you, it is a terrifying place. It is one that is filled with all-encompassing EMPs or nuclear winter or a super volcano erupting in Yellowstone. I mean, completely terrifying. And the society is broken apart. On every corner there's somebody who wants to rape your daughter. Your neighbor wants to steal your food. And the government wants to put you in FEMA camps. I mean, completely terrifying. Now, if a bad enough disaster happened, some of this could happen. But some preppers see conspiracy in everything that they read. And let me tell you why this happens. I believe for two reasons it can happen. One is preppers often have a narrow social group and something called confirmation bias. And I'll go into that in a minute. Now, many of us listen to the same podcasts, watch the same YouTube videos, and listen to the same newscasts. In other words, we gravitate towards others who have the same prepper beliefs. But I'm going to tell you, this can be dangerous, and let me explain why. Confirmation bias is when we dismiss information that doesn't agree with our beliefs. And that can be very dangerous. Our brains are wired to filter and organize mass quantities of information. These filters attempt to prevent information overload and can result in us focusing only on certain details and ignoring others. This can lead us to view, read, and listen to only information that confirms what we think we already know. Thus, we're going to look and find answers for what we already believe to be true. And this can be dangerous. Let me give you another example of something called the Peter Salinger syndrome. Peter Salinger was a respected journalist who in 1996 announced that a source had given him a government document proving that a U.S. Navy aircraft had accidentally shot down TWA Flight 800 while conducting missile tests off Long Island. As it turned out, the document was a fabrication that had been floating around the internet for weeks and which already had been discredited. Thus, be careful of people who say they have a source, but they can't reveal it, but this is what's going to happen. Any of you remember Jade Helm? I don't think the government declared martial law, but so many people were sucked in and believed that. And this can be part of the Peter Salinger syndrome. And some conspiracies simply fall prey to just faulty reasoning. They try to find patterns everywhere because this helps them control their world and their beliefs. Do you remember the Kennedy-Lincoln coincidence thing? You know, they even had like little pennies to commemorate it. Abraham Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846. John F. Kennedy was elected to Congress in 1946, 100 years later. Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860. John F. Kennedy was elected president in 1960. Again, 100 years later. The names Lincoln and Kennedy each contain 7 letters. Amazing. And this goes on and on. So yes, there was a pattern, but it was completely meaningless. However, some people are deliberately propagating what is called the big lie. In Mein Kampf, Adolf Hitler wrote, "The great masses will more easily fall victim to a big lie than a small one." Now, it was very ironic because Hitler was referring to the Jews as the big lie, not his own Nazi party. Big lies gain an audience on the internet. The original fabricator strongly asserts the misconception and massages data to prove the lie is being true. And vigorous denial is reframed as proof of guilt. So here's the conspiracy rabbit hole. Is the government lying? Is the conspiracist lying? Are both of them lying? I always try to verify a claim before I post it, and believe me, sometimes that is no easy task. One of the things that I do is to do a Google search and include whatever I'm looking for and the words hoax, myth, bogus, something like that, so I can get the opposite opinion of what I've heard. And I think that's very important before we post something for everybody to see. So I'm encouraging everyone who watches this video to widen your social groups. Don't just talk to people that are preppers in your same religious affiliation or your same political group. Go outside and talk to people who are just the opposite, or watch videos or newscasts from the opposing view. If you listen to Alex Jones, really shake up your world by occasionally listening to or watching The Young Turks, and it is a newscast with a decidedly liberal bent. You might also want to listen to news of something that happens here in the United States, but what does other countries think? So you can look at international news sources that broadcast in English. So don't fall down the prepper rabbit hole. Really try to verify when you hear information, and do not propagate fear in others without validating claims. So this is Prepper Potpourri saying, please subscribe, share the knowledge, thumbs up if you like this video, and don't fall down that rabbit hole.